North can't dictate to others, says Pa Ayo Adebanjo. The leader of the Yoruba sociocultural group Afenifere, Chief Ayo Adebanjo, has said the North cannot dictate to the rest of the country who becomes the president. Adebanjo spoke on Monday during a public lecture themed Nationalism and Nation Building in Nigeria History, held at the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs on Victoria Island, Lagos. He said it was said that the Southeast must come to negotiate with the North because politics is a game of numbers. My case is, and I told people yesterday, the case for the Southeast is not to beg for a favor. It is their right. Yet, each time I hear that they should go around because the North has the population, what fraudulent population? You can't sell that to me, or you can't sell that to me. They tell us to work together, but unfortunately, because they now have produced a president at the helm of affairs. They say no one can become president except you come to the North. And unfortunately, some Southerners have been brainwashed, all right, that they can't do anything except they bow to the North. I don't believe it. What right has the North to dictate who will become our president? We were brought together not by peace, not by agreement. They forced us together and we agreed. So to continue to live together in peace must be by agreeable terms. The East has the right not because he is Igbo, but because it is in Nigeria. Right? The principle of Afenifere is on ideological basis and principle of rightness, inclusiveness, and not any sentiment. The president of the Johannes Ndigbo, Professor George Obiozo, in his opening remark explained that no generation of Nigerian leaders since its independence had been able to create an atmosphere of credibility to ensure Nigerians claim to a political future as one nation. He said, recently, some Nigerian political leaders have said that Nigerian unity is non-negotiable. This is an irony because these leaders seem to have forgotten Nigerian history or have failed to learn the lessons of history in general. Nigerian unity is definitely negotiable and must be renegotiated for it to stand or survive the test of time. The reality over the years remains that in spite of the best efforts of all our leaders, past or present, Nigerian unity is not guaranteed. It is simply, at best, an aspiration and not yet an achievement. Consequently, the statement that Nigerian unity is non-negotiable is simply a historical fallacy. On his part, the National Director of Publicity of the Northern Elders Forum, Dr. Hakim Ahmed, said, some Nigerian political leaders have said Nigerian unity is non-negotiable. I don't know who these people are, but I can tell you they are not of the North and they are not related to the NEF. So Nigerian unity is negotiable. You either negotiate it because nations are very fragile and very delicate, and you have to nurture them and pay attention to their need, or they break, and we are at that breaking point now. The guest lecturer, Professor Jide Osuntokun, lamented that since 1966, Nigeria had struggled to find a method to balance the regional desire for autonomy under a national structure. Wow. So that is what Adebanjo is saying, that the North can't dictate for everybody, right? The fact that Igbo need to be president now is not a privilege, it's not a favor, and should not be negotiated. It is their right, not because they're Igbo, but because they are part of Nigeria. All right, that's what Adebanjo is saying. That the Afenifere was formed under ideological process, all right, to follow the right thing and not to follow ethnic bigotry or ethnic sentiment. Okay, so that is what Pademanjo is saying here. So the Hausas or anybody believing that before you become president in Nigeria, you have to go and negotiate with the North because they say they have the numbers, they say they have the population. That is not right. Right? And unfortunately, most of the Southern politicians have been brainwashed to believe that you must align with the North before you can become a president or before you can hold a significant political position in Nigeria. And it is true. That is what happened to Amechi. Amechi used the River State money and then, bought his way through to become the minister for transport. And then in the bid to become president, he also, centered most of the federal projects in the North. All right, all in the name of aligning with the North to be able to, fulfill his presidential ambition, 2023. But they kicked him from the back. Now he lost the office of the minister and also lost the APC primaries. Now he's nowhere. All right. So people, all the things that have been happening, Southerners are aligning with the North for it to happen because they have been brainwashed. Right now, Wike also did the same thing in PDP and as fine did everything to align with the North so that during the PDP primaries he can win it. Unfortunately, during the PDP primaries they played the Northern card for him and they kicked him out. Now, Atiku had to win the PDP primaries to become the party flag bearer. Buhari wouldn't have been a president if Tinubu and a lot of the Southern politicians did not support him. He contested for almost 4 times and he failed 4 times. It was when Tinubu and the Southern politicians came together to support him after merging the parties ANPP, I think AC and AD or so to form APC that eventually Buhari won the presidency in 2015. Otherwise, he wouldn't have won it. So that tells me that instead of saying that the South will have to align with the North to be able to win elections, it is the other way around. Because until you align with the Southerners, you can't get anything. If it is so easy, why didn't Buhari win election for 4 times? Until he aligned with Tinubu and the rest Southern politicians, that was when he won. Otherwise, he wouldn't have won that election till now. And that Atiku is also missing out. Atiku is now believing that with the Northern extraction, he can win election. That is why he made that statement in Kaduna in October that they don't need an Igbo president or a Yoruba president. They should vote for him because he's from Northern extraction and he's a pan-Nigerian. And unfortunately, if he fails to align with the South, he's not going to win anything. And I'm sure that is why he also picked a certain vice president from Delta State. But the fact remains that the idea that if you don't align with the North, you don't win the election is fake. All right? In fact, it should be the other way around, that if the Northerners don't align with the South, they don't succeed. Because first of all, they are not technocrats. There are very, very few learned technocrats among them that are actually detribalized. The rest are Islamic, and that their religion is what drives them. Nothing else. Nothing else. Nothing else. So Pademanja is saying here that the idea that Nigeria, Southerners must align with the North to become president is not feasible. All right. Again, Professor George Obiozor here, the President General behind the Nigbo, also repeated here that people say Nigeria is not negotiable. They are just making mistake. Nigeria must be negotiated in terms for it to leave because we were forced together. We did not come together at will. We were forced together in 1914 by Lord Lugard, the British warlord that came to do all of that. So we were forced together. We were not brought together at negotiation or at will. All right. So we must renegotiate our coherence for us to continue to coexist. Otherwise, everybody should go his way. Right. So that is what Padebaja is saying, that the Northerners cannot dictate for everybody in the country. All right. Everybody has equal right, and every geopolitical zone also has equal right to produce the president of the country. That is why we are together. Otherwise, it will mean something different, probably yet to be explained. All right. So I've got some comments here. Let me see what people are saying. Yeah, so somebody is saying really fraudulent number. Yes, so the number that houses have is fraudulent number. Somebody said Adebanjo is showing who he is. It is everybody's right to become a president, but politics is a game of numbers. No particular section can become the president without other zones. So you need to carry other zones along. That is correct. That is correct. I agree with that statement. The North can't dictate to others, but Adebanjo can. Is that so? Selfish? So Adebanjo is not dictating for people, but that is what he's saying, that not candidate, but he's dictating for others. So we need to know where and where he has dictated for others. Is it by supporting the Igbo presidency and signing and endorsing Peter Obi? Is that how he dictated for others? Already some pattern or some factions of Afenifere have also endorsed Tinubu. Another third faction of same Afenifere has endorsed Kwakwanso. So what I would say, so kolo mentality, always pulling empty statements. Now, wow. Why? Is he not asking any session to beg the North, knowing the North doesn't have the population? Then let the South vote Obi now, or is anyone stopping it? Can you imagine? So this must be another person asking this question. So God will surely keep you for more truth. People are praying for Padebanjo now for saying the truth the way it's supposed to be, undiluted truth. Baba, you too can't dictate for the Southwest as you are claiming. Tinubu is the next president by the grace of God. It is better you face the realities. Can you imagine? So there is division across, and that one is saying Tinubu is the next president. The last person here is saying, Pa Adebanjo, God will forever bless you and your descendant for always being upright. Your type is very rare. I love you, sir. Somebody is praying for him there. All right. So we can see all the people from by their names, we see where they come from and the kind of comment that is coming from them. That shows that Nigeria will struggle and will continue to struggle to be one going forward until something is done differently to unite the country or to let each ethnic group go its ways. So thank you for listening, and let's have your comment below.